Hey you all, it's Amber from the Ostomy Diaries. This is the live chat that I did with my good friend Tina. We chatted about dating and relationships with an ostomy bag. Be sure to check out Tina's blog, Own Your Crohn's, and you can find her on social media at Own Your Crohn's. You can also find me on social media at Ostomy Diaries. I hope you enjoy this chat. This is part 4.
But now I know this is the topic that you all were waiting for.
This is it, you guys.
I wanted to talk to you, Amber, a little bit about how intimacy might have changed for you with an ostomy, and if you have any tips. Okay. And I'm going to be plugging in a link on from Hollister's website about tips around intimacy as well for you to refer to.
Exactly. Definitely check out that resource from Hollister. It'll be in our comments. For me, okay, so I had been intimate before, and then Joel and I started dating, and we decided to wait until we got married to have intercourse again. So here I am, you know, the weeks leading up to our wedding. I'm freaking out because I was like, oh, I've never had sex with an ostomy before. And I mean, I would get to the point where I felt like I was going to throw up when I was thinking about having sex with my husband with an ostomy bag. And y'all, let me just tell you, sex with an ostomy is just as good and beautiful, amazing of an experience as it is without an ostomy. And honestly, in my experience, it wasn't that much different. So many of the fears that I had built up in my mind were things that I did not even need to worry about. Yeah. Obviously, you know, if you're just coming out of surgery, speak with your physician about when you're cleared to do, you know, physical activity in general, but have intercourse, and, you know, talk to your medical team about when it's okay to try that. But I mean, for me, it was amazing, and I shouldn't have been nervous. And, you know, the only difference for me was I wasn't worried about if I was going to have to run to the bathroom in the middle of it. So honestly, the ostomy bag's convenient. You know, you don't have to get up and go to the bathroom. But speaking about the ostomy, you know, a few tips that I think are beneficial to people wanting to have intercourse with an ostomy. I try to empty my pouch before those intimate moments. I know, you know, you can't always plan that during intercourse, but try to empty your pouch before. That way, if there is pressure on your abdomen, you know, you're not worried about a leak. So I do try to empty it before I know we're going to have those intimate moments. Another thing I would recommend, I just saw Allison's comment from Empowering Patients. Amber was scared and nervous. She's not kidding. I cried to Allison on the phone the night before my wedding. I was like, I'm so nervous about having sex tomorrow. I have an ostomy. Like, I just want it to go well. And so that's what I love about it.
These are real fears, right?
I know. I mean, I'm being completely transparent with y'all right now. I was so nervous that the ostomy was going to like explode, or that Joel would smell it, or that he would think it was weird. And y'all, he cannot smell it. You don't worry about being smelly, even, you know, without your clothes on and participating in intercourse. He's never smelled it. But something else that I try to make sure, you know, I change my ostomy about every 4 days. And, you know, I know when it's about that time, when it starts getting itchy around my stoma and, you know, the edges may be rippling up. I try to make sure I have on a fresh appliance before those intimate moments. Again, you can't always plan that, but you know, if you're in a hurry, you can always try to put some kind of barrier tape around your flange to help it stay down better. So I just try to make sure my ostomy is in good condition if I know I'm going to be having intercourse. And then my last tip that I was so excited about when I started researching it, one of my friends showed me, you know, I was worried about what I was going to look like without my clothes, with my ostomy. I wanted to be seen as attractive, like we all do.
Of course.
And it's so many cute ostomy wraps for men and women. I know that some of the ones for women, I've got a couple. It's kind of like a bandeau. It goes around you. It goes around your ostomy bag. They have lace on them. They have some that, are bright colors, or some that are more sexy that are black, and you can get matching sets. You can go several places on the internet and just type in ostomy wrap, and those, if you're not ready to just let your bag hang out during intercourse, or even if you just want to spice things up, like it helps you feel more confident and beautiful. In my experience, I've really enjoyed picking out different ones. And I wore a white lace one on our wedding night. And so that really helped. So, it's not something to be feared. It's something to look forward to. You can still be intimate with an ostomy. You can still feel beautiful. And, intercourse doesn't have to be something that's feared. It's totally manageable without an ostomy.
Absolutely.
You can still make that a part of your relationship and your marriage. So
100%, Amber. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's so important. But I also want to just add to that, like, I think not only are there different like ostomy like wraps, there's belts to keep it more secure.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's also like different kind of belts that help cover up the ostomy bag if you prefer that.
Yeah.
There's also like fun ostomy covers. A lot of people make their own. Like women on it or something.
I'm pretty sure there's tutorials online making. It doesn't have to be a wrap. It can just be the cover that goes over the ostomy in a fun pattern.
You fancy, you think your partner would enjoy it. And I think it's also fun to change those things up. I know that's one of the things, just like lingerie. You have, pink lingerie one day, you have black lingerie the next. Like, it's fun to have like different kinds of lacy wraps, but also covers. Just shake things up, do things that will make you feel sexy in that moment. I think that's really important. And just to go back to a question that we had received on like the missionary position and trying out different positions with intimacy and an ostomy, I definitely think this is possible. If you feel very uncomfortable, I would talk to your surgeon or at least your gastroenterologist or whoever might be involved in your care. If it's a urologist with a urostomy, there's different positions that you can try. I would just go into those positions as gently as possible. See if it's comfortable for you.
Exactly.
If it's something that's manageable for you, because you do want to spice up, those intimate moments as well and try something new. I definitely think that's something that's viable to try. And I know I certainly have, and I know other ostomates who have, and it's been perfectly safe to do so.
Exactly. And, if you try something and you're experiencing discomfort, speak to your healthcare provider about that. Don't hesitate to have those conversations. They've talked to people about it before. Don't feel embarrassed talking to your doctor about that. So, Tina, what other tips do you have that you've learned that may be beneficial for people?
Just before I go into that, I just want to say that, I like how you said that this isn't any different and that sex is still beautiful, whether you're an ostomate or you have a J-pouch or you have had so many different surgeries. Sex can still be a beautiful thing. I think for me, there were a lot more fears in my mind about leaks and explosions and this and that never actually came true. And I've been an ostomate for many years now. But some things I do feel a bit sexier include wearing sort of that lingerie that I talked about. But there's also other things that you can do. And these are things like the belts that I mentioned. They're available for all genders. And I want to make sure that's out there as well, that no one should feel excluded, that when you are reaching out to some of these companies about their products, definitely ask what works for you. They usually have customer service reps that help out with this whole process. So definitely, not just speak to your doctors or physicians about this, but speak to different companies, look at the different products out there, or design something that you feel comfortable with, or use a tube top, whatever you feel comfortable with, and ask questions. There's nothing to be ashamed about in this process. I think that's my biggest tip, is to, as ashamed as we might feel, The only way that we're going to get the answers to our questions is if we reach out and ask those questions.
Exactly.
So with that in mind, there are a few things that come up time and time again with regards to intimacy with a chronic illness, with an ostomy, that we should keep in mind. As Amber mentioned earlier, and as I have been mentioning, always speak to your surgeon about when to start having sex again after surgery or any kind of procedure. For some patients, it might be 6 weeks. For some, it might be 8 weeks. For some, it might be shorter. I think it's very important to have that conversation. Even if your surgeon doesn't bring it up himself or herself, we have to take that upon us to try and get the information that we need. We shouldn't suffer in silence or not try to have intercourse with our partners if this is something that we really want to do. It's a conversation.
Exactly. And like I said earlier, it's not going to be awkward for your doctor because it goes right along with physical activity. I mean, this is a physical activity that intercourse that, you would need to get cleared to go hiking if you wanted to go on a date and go hiking. So they're used to these questions. So don't be afraid to have those conversations at all. I know I get awkward sometimes at the doctor, but that's what they're there for, to help you and educate you and put some of your fears at ease.
Absolutely. And just a couple of other pointers with regards to anal penetration. I know that could be something that's difficult depending on what kind of surgery you've had. So please speak to your surgeon about that, as some of these organs, they have been involved in surgery. So it may or may not be recommended depending on your personal situation. So definitely keep that in mind. The other thing you want to keep in mind is it's probably best not to use your stoma for intercourse or penetration. This is something that has come up in groups and support groups online, also in support groups in person, but it is something that I saw in the emergency room with another patient happen to them, and they had sort of caused an infection and perforation of their bowel with something like that. So please keep that in mind. The other thing is, if there's pain with intercourse or if there's erectile dysfunction with intercourse, please talk to your doctor and address with your surgeon and or a pelvic pain specialist. Sometimes pelvic floor physical therapy or physiatry can help alleviate both pain with intercourse as well as erectile dysfunction. So that's something else you want to keep in mind, trying to get a referral for that if you are having a lot of pain or issues with functionality. Some resources that we're going to include in the comments section. One's from Hollister. It's Sex After Ostomy Surgery, so do's and don'ts that I'll be putting in, as well as United Ostomy Association support groups for ostomates. And the United Ostomy Association also has a lovely intimacy guide on their website that I thought was very, very useful when I first became an ostomate and wanted to learn more.
Exactly.
And with everything that we've talked about today, I just want to mention that it's always important to remember who we are at our core, that we're good, kind people who deserve happiness in life. And being an ostomate doesn't prevent us from any of that.
Exactly.
Because of our ostomies, we have quality of life again. What's preventing us from being in a relationship, right?
Absolutely nothing.
It doesn't smell, as Amber was mentioning earlier.
That was one of my biggest fears, is that it was going to smell bad, and it doesn't. And if I do want to mention, if you're worried about that, they make different sprays that you can spray on your ostomy, or liquid that you can put inside the ostomy, or just use your favorite perfume. I've done that before if you're self-conscious about it. So I did just want to add that in as well.
Absolutely. So these things aren't, stopping us from being intimate, and our ostomy does allow us to be healthier. So why not try to live life on our own terms and shatter those stigmas around ostomy surgery? That's always been my thing, like I want to live my life to my fullest, and I want to empower you all to do the same, and as does Amber. So Amber and I want to encourage you all not to shirk back from dating and relationships just because you might have a stoma. We have every right to be happy. We have every right to have loving partners. And this is exactly why Amber and I advocate so passionately about educating folks who might think otherwise. And I think you guys can too, and we encourage you to.
Exactly. you still have value. You are still worthy. You deserve love. So try to remember that. And you are still an amazing person, and your ostomy is not what makes you who you are. It's a part of your life, but it's not your whole life. So again, be sure to check out those links that Tina commented. We just want to thank everybody for being here and chatting with us. We love these. We love hearing from you and answering your questions. And dating and relationships can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. You deserve love. So if you have any other questions, you can reach out to us on our platforms, or you can go to Hollister's website and click on their contact link and send them an email, or they have phone numbers. Depending on what country you're in, they have all that information on there if you have more questions about dating and relationships or intimacy. So feel free to follow us on our social media platforms and YouTube. I am Ostomy Diaries on all social platforms and YouTube. And Tina is at Own Your Crohn. She has an amazing blog with a ton of great information out there. So be sure to check that out. And thank you all so much for chatting with us today.
Thank you. And feel free to ask us whatever questions you have.
Exactly.
Take care, and we welcome you all to live the most fulfilling lives as possible.
Exactly. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Bye.